All right, so this is getting started with OBS part two. I'm sure you're seeing my OBS screen now. The last video I kind of did an introduction where I walked you through what you're seeing in the screen, the different sections in the screen. So again, when you start your OBS the first time, this is what you're going to see typically, but without content. So you're going to see a blank screen like this. How do we get started, and what are the first step we have to take? We need to first of all go to settings. So I'll click on settings. So that would open the settings tab. Pay attention to the tab on the left hand side and the middle. So on the left hand side, we have general, stream, output, audio, video, hotkeys, and advanced. So I'm going to walk you through only the general output, audio, video, and hotkeys. Probably. Let's see how it goes. So under the general tab here, the default language is English. The theme is this automatically check for update on startup. Yeah, you could disable or enable this depending on if you have good internet to be, checking for updates. So in this case, I'll just disable. For the output, leave everything as is, and there's nothing else here to change. So we skip stream and move on to output, which is very important. And so I click on output. The streaming settings here, the video bit rate is 2500 kbps, kilobits per second. That should be left as is. And the audio bit rate should be left at 160 kbps. Leave everything under this tab as it is. So this is where our main focus is, where you have recording. So here you're going to set your recordings, configure your recording settings. The first thing you need to do is to click on browse and choose a location on your computer or a folder on your computer where you want all your recordings to be saved to. In my case, I created a folder called OBS recordings on my C drive, and I created another subfolder called August 2022. That's where all my recordings go to. So if I click on browse here, you're going to see this is the folder whereby if I finish recording, all my recordings will automatically be saved into this folder. Again, on my C drive, I created a folder called OBS recording. In that folder, I created another subfolder called August 2022. So I'll click on that and select. It will appear here. Again, whenever you're recording, your video will automatically be saved here. So in case you're wondering where your recording goes to, this is where you find them. The next thing we need to consider is recording quality. This is very important because it depends on how powerful your computer is. You should leave this at default because when you install OBS, it's going to detect, how powerful or not your computer is, and then it determines a certain quality. In my situation, I love high quality and medium file size. If you click on that drop down, you find indistinguishable quality with large file size. This is going to take quite a long time to render. So do not use this. It doesn't make sense except you have super high computer like Core i7, 16 gig RAM, and and all sort. So leave it at high quality or the default. Don't go beyond high quality. Don't go to lossless quality. Just leave it at high quality. Finally, in this particular pane, we have recording format. If you click on the drop down, you find different format: MOV, MKV, TS, M3U8, and FLV. The most popular is MP4. You should leave it at MP4. However, you're going to have a warning about choosing MP4 format because the system might by default drop you at MKV. When you have MKV, you have no default warning here. However, I would say you should just ignore the warning and use MP4 so you don't have issues, overall. 99.9% of the time, you're not going to have this issue that you've been warned against. The encoder setting should be left at default. In this case, we have hardware QSV. Leave it at that. And we move on to the audio settings. Um, Most of the time, you have to leave this, except you have to, watch a couple of YouTube videos and find how you could, do advanced audio settings here. That is beyond this lesson. So if you need to improve the audio quality of your recording, mine is just default. If you hear, most of my sound doesn't really sound great, but I don't care. As far as the information has been passed, that's what matters in this series of videos that I'm making. I don't have time yet to kind of play around with my audio configuration. So do not touch anything in the audio configuration sections. If you click on apply, you've applied the settings in the previous section. So settings have been applied, the general settings have been applied. So we move on to so we've done general output setting, which is very important settings to do. um Basically, you shouldn't touch these settings unless you know what you're doing, so I'll leave it at default for video settings. This is very important, hotkeys, which is like shortcut keys. What you notice here is for every functionality you have on your OBS screen, or recording section, you're going to have shortcut keys and labels that can allow you use the keyboard to control what happens. For example, here to start my recording, if I click on that box and press any key, if I press D and apply, it means anytime I press D, consciously or unconsciously, OBS is going to start recording. That is if OBS is left, has been opened. And each time I click Z, OBS is going to stop recording. Or if I click Control R, record, and if I click Control S, it's going to stop. But then all of these key combinations is going to kind of distract you. So I love using single keys. For example, if I want A, anytime I press A, I'll start recording. And if I want to stop recording, I press A again. I don't have to, have different keys, so that my eyes will not be moving around finding where those keys, or buttons are. You get the idea. So I press A and A for recording. I click on apply. Whenever I press A, my OBS will start recording automatically. If I press A again in that session, it's gonna stop. That's how it works. But then you might want to pause and check something. So what do I do here? I could just press the next key to A, which is S. It makes more sense to pause recording S and then to unpause S again. So if I keep my left hand on the A key and I'm ready to start my presentation, I press A, the OBS will begin to record, and then I shift my hand slightly to S in case I make it, or I know I want to make a mistake, or I need to move on to something I'm not quite sure. I could just, without removing my eye from the camera, I know where my finger is, because on the QWERTY keyboard layout, after A you have S. So I could just press S and then I pause, do what I need to do. While my eyes on the camera, I press S again. So those are the simple tricks. Basically, I've always been doing basic training. You don't need streaming. You're not streaming online. So discard. I discard every other distance. So these are the four, functionalities or hotkeys I have ever had to use so far. But you need to go beyond this if you need to go pro. So look at what's possible and what you think you might need to do, and assign shortcut keys to them. It makes your presentation seemingly flawless and quite easy. So with that said, I'll just click on apply and then OK to get out of the settings. That's basically all about settings. In the next video, I'm going to walk you through the scenes and the sources and how you could, create your content and all of that to begin your presentation or recording journey using OBS Studio. But before we go, let's quickly go to the menu bar here. Here we have the file menu. If you finish recording, that's after you have pressed your A and A again to stop recording. You want to know where your video is, assuming you did not understand the location, or you don't know how to navigate to the location. So how could you don't know how to navigate to this location? You could just click on the file menu and close that out. Click on file menu and click on show recordings. So if I click on show recordings here, it will take me straight to that folder, and all the recordings I had previously done would be located in that same folder where which I showed you before. You get the idea. Finally, I want to say that without using the shortcut keys, you would have to come and click on start recording and stop. When you click on start recording, it will turn to stop recording. So you can click on stop recording again, but that's very distracting. I prefer you use, the shortcut keys. So that's it for this video. Watch out for the next video where I'm going to walk you around what you need to do to create your content and set up your scenes and then the sources for each of these scenes, and then get ready to make your presentation.